नौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। Hari Om, salutations to all and a very happy Janmashtami. So before we go into the lesson, we will do a little bit of symbolism. So Shri Krishna, he is born as the 8th child of Vasudeva and Devaki. Who are Vasudeva and Devaki? Vasudeva is the symbol of an intellect. Devaki is a symbol of mind. Both of them, so we know Devaki is the sister of Kamsa. And both of them were very happily married, Vasudeva and Devaki. And Kamsa he loved Devaki very much. And he was, after the marriage got over, he was taking both of them. Who is this Kamsa? From Vedantic standpoint, Kamsa is Deha Abhiman, the identification with the body. Gurudev used to say Kamsa means Kamsaha, one who always asks, who is that? There is no God. This alone is the truth. So that Dehabhiman is Kamsa. And Vivek and Vairagya, Vivek is there and Shuddhaman is there. That is Vasudeva and Devaki. They both are married and Kamsa is taking them. Meaning, even in the most intelligent person, the attitude that I am the body doesn't go fast. Now, as he is taking both of them, very happy he is. And suddenly what happens? There is one Akashvani. That, Are, O Murk, this Devaki and Kamsa that you are taking so happily, their 8th child will be born who will destroy you, who will be the cause of your death. Now, one point to think here is this. Why did that Akashvani have to happen at all? Bhagwan had to kill Kamsa. He could have anyway come as the 8th child and killed Kamsa. Why Akashvani is required? Because after that Akashvani, that Kamsa becomes cruel. That Kamsa who was so loving, who was so happy, who was taking, he had become a charioteer, the king. He has become the charioteer, he's taking his own sister. That Kamsa suddenly now became very cruel. He jumped down from the chariot, took out his sword, caught this Devaki, pulled her down, and he wants to kill. Vasudeva goes there at that time and begs Kamsa, please spare her. First of all, she is a woman. Second, she is your own sister, and just now she has got married, and you are taking her. The Upadesh that Vasudeva gives to Kamsa is very nice actually in Bhagavatam, where he tells him that everything that is born has to anyway die. Why do you want to do such a ghor papa, killing your own sister, don't do that. Your enmity is with that eighth son. I will bring that eighth son to you. And if you want, I will bring all the children to you. But please spare her. So Vasudev is a long Upadesh he gives there, full of Vedanta about the body and how we are not the body and body identification, the cause of sorrow and all that. So finally, Kamsa lets go of Devaki and he imprisons both of them. But the question still is, why did that Akashvani happen? That Akashvani is the symbol of Bhagwan's Kripa. Because until Bhagwan's Kripa does not happen, the real nature of our body identification doesn't come out. A seeker thinks that I have got knowledge, I am doing devotion, I am all fine, very good. Where comes her? So that ego pretends a lot. The real nature of that ego and body identification comes out because of grace of Bhagwan only. When that fear of death comes, then the real fact comes out. How much attachment is there? All knowledge may be here. Purity of heart may be there to a certain extent because one is doing some spiritual practices. But how deep is that identification with the body comes out when one has to face death. Here it is not even death. Here is just a prediction of his death. That ego's true nature came out because ego doesn't want to die and we don't want to drop this body as attachment is so strong. So whatever is going to be the cause of the body's death, one wants to eliminate. So it is actually Kripa of Bhagwan. Akashvani means the Kripa of the Lord, that the real nature came out. And both understood, Devaki and Kamsa, Vasudev, they understood the real nature of Kamsa. A seeker understands the real nature of the ego when Kripa of Bhagwan happens. There is still a lot of body identification which is there inside that needs to be eliminated. And what does this body identification do? It will imprison all the tendencies which are sattvic. So this Vasudeva and Devaki both get imprisoned. Meaning sadhana will become much lesser. The body identification makes us live more at the body level and reduce our sadhana. So Vasudeva and Devaki, they become helpless because they are imprisoned. So Vivek and Bhakti, both of them they are imprisoned by this ego. Now when the first child is born, Vasudeva takes the first child to Kamsa. Kamsa says, I don't have any problem with this first child. You take. Eighth child you bring. At that time, what happens? Naraji comes there now. And Naraji gives him one lotus flower. And Naraji says, now you tell me which is the first petal in this. So that Kamsa says 1, 2. He says, but I can say this is also the first petal. So what you are saying 1 can also be number 8. So how are you sure which is what? Now again one feels, hey, what is this? Why Naraji had to come that time there? Again it is a similar point. That the humility, not humility, that the love of that Kamsa, that is my daughter, my sister's child. I don't have any enmity against that child, is the eighth child. All that is a false myth. Anything that threatens this body identification, one wants to eliminate. Even if it is not a reality. The possibility is there, but it will not eliminate. Ego is so insecure. So when Naradji comes, again that insecurity of Kamsa comes out. And what does he do? 6 children of Vasudeva and Devaki, he destroys them. Who are these 6 children? How is impurity born from pure mind and subtle intellect? These 6 are Shatka Sampatti, Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, they all get destroyed by this body identification. In a seeker, when we have body identification, Vivek Vairagya may be there, which will give rise to Shatka Sampatti. But you think about it, sense control we want to have, Shama, and a seeker has also sense control. But what makes the seeker compromise? Will be some body identification only, no? Somewhere we'll go and compromise. Sense control breaks, mind control breaks, withdrawal gone. Shraddha, suddenly the body says, which God, what God? After learning so much of Vedanta, sometimes one becomes Nastic. That means Dehatma Bhava is very, very strong. It is rising more and more. Also, one important point in this is, for Sharanagati to happen, a seeker must become completely helpless. Shatka Sampatti also cannot help us to get beyond the body identification so strongly. When body identification is so strong, I'm not saying we should not cultivate it, but that mumukshutvam comes, no? That is the key aspect. That when we cultivate that mumukshutvam, when surrender to Bhagwan, saying, Bhagwan, you alone are my refuge now. I don't depend on anything. Not even my Purushartha, not even the Shatka Sampatti, nothing. That alone destroys body identification completely. 100% surrender. So the 6 children are killed. What happens to the 7th child? Now you just see 6 children are killed. Vasudeva is helpless or not? He takes every child to Kamsa. He doesn't think, he doesn't do anything. He takes. Our Vivek and our Bhakti becomes helpless when we have body identification. This whole life of Kamsa, not life, the birth of Sri Krishna is to tell us this fact that don't take this body identification for granted. That is the root cause of our sorrow. So Vivek and Bhakti both become helpless. 6 children are taken. Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, all get destroyed. In that example, they get destroyed actually. Here what we should remember, that they will rise in us, and whenever body identification comes, they go away. We are not able to nurture them. That's how happens, no? When we are in the camp, we have great inspiration every morning from today. Next 100 days minimum, I will get up at 6 o'clock and do meditation every morning. I will sleep early, get up early. After a few days, what happens when we return from the camp? Camp was very hectic, you know. I deserve some rest. Gone. All sense control gone. One goes back to sleep. Why? Because some body identification. So the Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, all of them become victims of this Dehatma Bhav. Now the 7th child is born. It's very interesting. The 7th child who is born, Bhagwan transfers that 7th child into Rohini's womb. Rohini is another wife of Vasudeva. Devaki is Paratantra, Rohini is Swatantra. Devaki and Vasudev, by their efforts, they are not able to fight against Kamsa. But Ishwar Ichha it is that this 7th child is actually Sheshnag, which is Balrama avatar. So very nicely it is said, before a guest comes, what do you prepare? Suppose a guest is coming to stay in your home. What will you prepare? You will prepare the room of that guest and prepare the bed and everything, right? So before Bhagwan comes, Bhagwan's bed has already come. Bed means what? Sheshnag, Bhagwan. Balram is Sheshnag avatar. So Shesha comes before. And Bhagwan's grace it is that that womb is transferred to Rohini. And the word spreads that the 7th child of Devaki has fallen, is not there. So then Kamsa doesn't know. Which means what? Jiva can be Paratantra, Vasudeva and Devaki may be helpless, but Ishvara is Swatantra. Jiva's effort is very limited. When Ishwar wants something to happen, it will just happen. So that womb gets transferred. And Rohini is Swatantra. She is not bound by Kamsa. She is not bound by Vasudeva, Devaki, nobody. Balram is born to her there. And then comes the 8th child. So Bhagwan enters the womb of Vasudeva and Devaki. Both Vasudeva and Devaki, they get a tej on their face. You see, it is written there. Devaki became like the eastern direction. In Bhagavatam, it is written like that. She became like the Purva Disha. Why Purva Disha? Because sun rises, that whole direction becomes so bright. Till now, she was very dull. 6 children she has given birth. She has sorrow. Her children have been killed. But now, she's shining brightly. Tremendously, she's shining. Looking at her, Kamsa also wonders, maybe now somebody is born, is somebody there in her womb, because how is she shining so much? In his mind, he understood that there is some divine being inside her. But action-wise, he is terrible. So, when Bhagwan is born there, what day he is born? On the Tithi, which is 8, Ashtami. Very interesting it is. In Ram Avatar, Bhagwan is born on Navami. And in the middle, in the afternoon, middle of the day. Because he is born in Surya Vamsha. 1. And 2, very nice it is. Number 9 is a number of changelessness. Changeless Brahman. Why? Because every multiple of 9 will come back to 9. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. You add these numbers, it will come back to 9 only. So 9 represents changeless Brahman. So in Ram Avatar, Bhagavan manifested using the number 9. In Krishna Avatar, he manifested using the number 8. Why 8? 8 represents Prakriti. If you remember in the Gita, Bhagavan tells that. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhirevaha kham mano buddhirevacha ahankaryati yamme bhinna prakriti rashtadha. This whole world is made up of 8 things. 5 elements, sun, moon, jiva. So 5 elements are the inert elements. Then the sun represents all the luminaries. Moon represents all the asterisms, indirect light. And then the jiva is the individual. So the changing Prakriti. So in one avatar, Bhagwan is born in the changeless. In other avatar, Bhagwan is born in the changing. And he has to play with the change. So he is born in that Tithi number 8. And he is born when? In the midnight. When it is dark. Why? Because Chandra is in the night. Surya is in the day. So he is born at night. Bhagwan there is born in kingdom, in the palace. Here he is born in the prison house. And very beautiful symbolism it is. In the darkest hour of one's life, in the most depressing time also, Bhagwan can be born if we have surrendered to the Lord. In the prison house, where amidst all bondage and shackles, Devaki and Vasudeva are living there. At midnight, the darkest hour, the darkest place, helplessness is there completely. That moment is the moment of complete surrender to the Lord, where one is not depending on anything, not even one's Purushartha. That is called Ananya Bhakti. No other sadhan, not even my Purushartha, no people, no power, no position, not my body, not my mind, nothing. I depend 100% only on grace of the Lord. And then who is born? Bhagwan himself is born. In that same thing you can apply in the moments of meditation. It is when the desire for realization also drops. the Gita it is said, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasad jnanad dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagah tyagat shantir anantaram. Greater than dhyan is karma phala tyag. Generally, we always say karma phala tyag is the preparation to make the mind pure and ready, then do dhyan, then realize the self. Here it is said that karma phala tyag is greater than dhyan also. What karma phala tyag is this? The karma phala of my meditation. That my meditation will result in realization. That is a false notion. No action can result in realization. Action can only destroy. Maximum meditation can only destroy ignorance. It can remove ignorance. It cannot produce realization. So when I drop even the desire for realization, that I am not yet realized, now I want to realize, that desire for realization also goes. That person realizes the truth. Tyagat Shanti Anantaram. The moment that desire for realization goes, Purushartha goes, effort goes, effortlessly, one will realize I am that pure consciousness. That is the birth of Krishna in each one of us. And that Krishna, when he is born in each one of us, makes us strong, empowered, and destroys this Kamsa. Kamsa is body identification and resultant ego, and Chanura is the false pride. So Kamsa is related to the body, Chanura is related to the things that we have. False pride we have. I am so wealthy, I am so powerful, I have so many people with me, I have so much wealth with me, all the things that we have. So Mama and Aham, I, this body. So Vasudeva Sutam Devam, Kamsa, Chanura, Mardanam, who destroys his body identification and who destroys this false pride. Then what happens? Devaki Paramanandam, that mind experiences absolute bliss. Paramanandam, the goal of life is Paramananda, that mind will experience it. And how? Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Because Krishna is the Jagat Guru, he destroys this ignorance in us. So the birth of Krishna is the birth of Brahma Vidya in us, which destroys our Dehabhiman. Bolo Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki. Chalo, so Bhagwan is born now. We can remove. Yes. As long as I think I am going to do something, I remains, no? Exactly, which is what is the point there. Ki jab, when there is pain, Vasudeva and Devaki got prisoned, no? Then they turn to Bhagwan. It will happen like that. That's why Kunti prayed, Bhagwan, please give me pain. Because without pain, I don't remember you only. So that's why I said, in the darkest hour, Bhagwan can be born if I know how to surrender. Most of our scriptural literature, you find this. Arjun got the wisdom in his darkest hour or not? When he's suffering and he's struggling and his mind is in such turmoil, then he surrendered to Krishna. There also he surrendered partially. He said, I surrender to you, but I will not fight. But that's what Jiva is capable of. Finally, last when he surrendered, when Bhagavan said, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. You drop all dharmas. Shari dharma, buddhi dharma, mana dharma. You drop all dharma. You drop all the roles you play in life. Seek one Supreme Lord alone. That's all. Nothing else except that. Aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishyami mahashuchaha. I will liberate you from all sins. Because the root of all sins is the thought that I am this jiva, I am this body. That Bhagavan will help us to remove. Then all papa gone. Mahashuchaha, don't grieve. If Krishna's life has to be explained, no, in 2 words, it is Mahashuchaha. Don't grieve. Keep smiling. His whole life is a misery. Just see, he's born in prison. Before he's born, 6 siblings gone. After he's born, separated from the parents. Then he was there. And then from his childhood, everybody is trying to kill him. Putana, Dhenukasur, Vatsasur, Bakasur, all of them. And who is sending? His own uncle is sending. Then From there, he comes back. He leaves Gokul, he comes. He has to leave Yashoda ji, Nanda Baba, everybody. And he comes to Mathura, kills this Kamsa. You just think about it. Every single moment is struggle, struggle, and struggle in his life. But what does he do? Smiles in and through all of that. That is what his life is for us. One who realizes the self will then go through everything beautifully. हो गया कृष्ण भगवान का जन्म. So we pray to the Lord that may the Lord be born in our heart soon and our Dehatma Bhav must get destroyed. Then life is fulfilled. So today we will learn some chanting of the stotrams of Shri Krishna. So first we will learn Madhurashtakam, 112. Sanam madhuram valitam madhuram chalitam madhuram bhramitam madhuram madhuradhipate rakhilam madhuram venurmadhuro renurmadhuraha पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम् मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्. Now we can sing together. Geetam madhuram, pitam madhuram, bhuktam madhuram, suktam madhuram, rupam madhuram, tilakam madhuram, madhuradhipaterakhilam madhuram. Karanam madhuram, taranam madhuram, Haranam madhuram, ramanam madhuram, vamitam madhuram, shamitam madhuram, madhuradhipaterakhilam madhuram, gunja madhura, mala madhura, yamuna madhura, vichi madhura, Salilam madhuram, kamalam madhuram, madhuradhipaterakhilam madhuram, gopi madhura, lila madhura, yuktam madhuram, muktam madhuram, drishtam madhuram, shrishtam madhuram, madhuradhipaterakhilam madhuram gopa madhura gavo madhura madhura srishtir madhura dalitam madhuram phalitam madhuram madhuradhipaterakhilam madhuram madhuradhipaterakhilam madhuram. Repeat now. Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Hari Govinda. Clap. Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Hari Govinda. 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 जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद 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 जय जय गोविंद जय हरि गोविंद। बोलिए मधुराधिपति श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। Okay, one more is this. Achyutastakam is page number 108. This is combination, okay? Of Ram and Krishna both. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Harim Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallabham Janaki Nayakam Ramachandram Bhaje Achyutam Keshavam Satyabhamadhavam Madhavam Sridharam Radhika Radhitam Indira Mandiram Chetasa Sundaram Devaki Nandanam Nandajam Sandadhe Vishnave Jishnave Shankhine Chakrine Rukmini Ragine Janaki Janaye Vallavi Vallabhaya Chitayatmane Kamsa Vidvamsine Vamsine Te Namaha Krishna Govinda He Rama Narayana Shripate Vasudeva Jita Srinidhe Achyutananta He Madhava Dhokshaja Dwaraka Nayaka Draupadi Rakshaka Rakshasa Kshobhita Sitaya Shobhito Dandakaranya Bhu Punyata Karanaha Lakshmane Nanvito Vanarai Sevito Agastya Sampujito Raghava Patumam Dhenuka Rishtaha Nishtakradveshinam केशिहा कंसहृद्वंशिका वादकः पूतना कोपकसूरजा खेलनो बालगोपालक पातु मां सर्वदा विद्युद्योतवत् प्रस्फुरद्वाससम् प्रावृडम्भोदवत् प्रोल्लसद्विग्रहम् वन्यया मालया शोभितोरस्थलम् लोहिताङ्घ्रिद्वयं वारिजाक्षं भजे कुञ्चितैकुन्तलैर्भ्राजमानाननम् रत्नमौलिं लसत्कुण्डलं गण्डयोः हारकेयूरकं कङ्कणप्रोज्ज्वलम् किङ्किणी मञ्जुलं श्यामलं तं भजे अच्युतस्याष्टकं यः पठेदिष्टदम् प्रेमतः प्रत्यहं पूरुषः सस्पृहम् वृत्ततः सुन्दरं वेद्य विश्वम्भरम् तस्य वश्यो हरिर्जायते सत्वरम् तस्य वश्यो हरिर्जायते सत्वरम् बोलो कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की सियावर रामचंद्र की सर्वत्र गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम गोविंदा गोविंदा. चलो now to advanced Vedanta course lesson. Actually the advanced Vedanta course lesson today is very nicely coinciding with this Janmashtami because it is Panchakosha Vivek, which is what we just learned. Dehatma Bhava we have to give up. So remember the 7 questions that were asked. Ko nama bandha, kathamesha agata, katham pratisthasya, katham vimoksha. What is bondage, from where it came, how does it persist, and how to get liberated. So these 4 got answered. Ko asau anatma, that we saw earlier. Anatma, what is the description of anatma, we saw. Then paramaka atma, that also we saw. Sachidananda Swarupatma, Tatastha Lakshan, Swarup Lakshan. And one more Lakshan is which one? Tatastha Swarupa, one more. Atad Vyavritti Lakshan. Don't forget after giving the test. Test should not be the criteria. That is secondary. Bondage has to be removed from our head. That is the criteria. Atad Vyavritti Lakshan. So that was also answered. What is the nature of Anatma? What is the Paramatma? That's all. Now, how to distinguish between the two? Because this mixture has happened. Atma is taken as Anatma, Anatma is taken as Atma. So, Tayor Viveka Katham Etad Uchyatam. That is answered in this and the next lesson. And how to distinguish both these. So now, using this words from Atma Bodh, Shankaracharya ji has explained this, that what is, first of all, what is this mixture that has happened, non-differentiation that has happened. See this on page 1 you have. panchakoshadi yogena tattanmaya iva sthitaha shuddhatma nilavastradi yogena spatiko yatha. So now panchakoshadi yogena, because of association with the panchakosha, this self which is infinite now is appearing as finite. Tattanmaya ivasthita, it appears as though the self has become that. How? Example given, Shuddhatma. Shuddhatma panchakoshadi yogena, that pure Atma by associating with the panchakosha appears to have become like the panchakosha. How? Nila vastradi yogena sphatiko yatha. This crystal is by itself colorless. But when a blue cloth is brought near it, the crystal will appear as though it has become blue. Crystal has actually not become blue. The blueness of this cloth is reflected in the crystal because of its proximity and association. If you take away the blue cloth, what will happen? Crystal is again colorless. Crystal was colorless even during the blue cloth actually. It is only an appearance that the crystal has become blue. Same way, Shuddhatma, Atma is Shuddha at all times, before, during, after. But while one is associated with the Panchakosha, it appears as though Atma has become finite, Atma has become limited. It only an appearance. So now here is the crystal and the cloth example. In this case, what is the cloth? In our case, is a Panchakosha, Panchakoshadi Yogena. And what is the Panchakosha? You remember Panchakosha? 5 sheets, layers, which are covering. Again, remember, they are not covering, they are as though covering. Like the cloud can never actually cover the sun. It appears as though it is covering. From the earth, when I see, it appears as though it is covering. Otherwise, the sun is functioning behind the clouds and the cloud is actually seen in the light of sun only. Same way, the Panchakosha functioning because of Atma. I am experiencing Panchakosha because of Atma only. But I have forgotten that. So now what are the Panchakosha? First is Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha is born from food. So it is called Annamaya Kosha. Then second is Pranamaya Kosha. How many pranas are there? 5. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Sama. Then Manomaya Kosha. What is Manomaya Kosha? Mind. So mind along with the senses of knowledge. 5 senses of knowledge. In Pranamaya Kosha is 5 pranas plus senses of action. Sense faculty, sir, remember, it is sense faculty. Manomaya Kosha is mind plus senses of knowledge. And Vijnanamaya Kosha is buddhi plus senses of knowledge. And then the Anandamaya Kosha is the bliss sheet, which is vasanas plus ignorance. Now these 5 koshas which are there, what is the identification? See, the cloth is brought next to the crystal. So the crystal doesn't do anything. Cloth also doesn't do anything. In that proximity, the color of that cloth is superimposed into the crystal by itself. It just reflects there. Same way, Atma and Anatma, when they have come together, you see in the first page, no, Gurudev has written one very nice line. He said, first page, second para, he said, since the bondage has its foundation in the unholy wedlock of the self and the not self, it is no wonder that Vedanta never tires of laying emphasis on the need to differentiate the self from the not self. So he used to actually say that the unholy wedlock of the matter and the spirit has produced the monster children called the ego and all its siblings. So here it is. Now this discrimination has to happen now. So first of all, what is this identification? Panchakosha, when the Atma, word Atma means what literally? The meaning of the word Atma is what? Okay. But yourself means who? Okay, that's the nature of yourself. Who is that? I. Real I. Don't forget, Atma means I, my true nature, I. Otherwise, the mind will always say some Atma whose nature is Sachidananda. Atma means I. But today this I is associated not with Atma, it is associated with Panchakosha. That is called the mixture of Atma and Anatma. The real I is forgotten and the real I is identifying with the Panchakosha and the small I has got created. The small I actually is a fictitious entity, doesn't exist only. So how does it identify? So when we identify with when the real I identifies with the body, what does it feel? Annamaya Kosha. It feels, I am tall, I am dark, I am young, I am handsome, I am thin, I am black, I am white, I am brown. By itself, Atma is not any of those. Like the by itself, that crystal is colorless. Same way with Pranamaya, when it identifies, what does it feel? This actually we have done earlier. This is like a revision. When we did the description of this Anatma, Panchakosha, we have done this before. Identified with the prana, it feels, I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am having whatever, vomiting, constipation, so many things. I am breathing in more air, I am suffocating, those, Pranamaya Kosha. And because Pranamaya Kosha also has senses of action, so I am walking, I am moving, I am speaking, all those. Then Manomaya Kosha. So all this, worry, doubt, indecision, identified with these is the Manomaya Kosha. Identified with the Vijnanamaya Kosha is doubt, knowledge, doership, enjoyership, all these. Seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, all. Anandamaya Kosha is vasanas, priya, moda, pramoda. Now this identification, when it is there, what happens? We forget the real I and the destiny of this Panchakosha becomes my destiny. What we just now saw is also that Kamsa is the Dehatma Bhav. And the Dehatma Bhav makes us feel weak, makes us feel I am a limited, finite jiva. And one becomes insecure. Kamsa was tremendously insecure. And as long as that body identification is there, Panchakosha identification is there, true spirituality, true realization of the self cannot happen. So now what has to be done? We have to separate these two. That is called Panchakosha Vivek. So why Vivek is required? Vivek is required when two things have got mixed up. No? If two things are not mixed up, Vivek is not required. If there is only milk, no problem. But if milk and water have got mixed, then we have to separate. Now what are the two things which have as though got mixed up here is Atma and Anatma. So now when we identify, when we know that this is the problem, that actually Atma has not become the Anatma. Please remember this. Infinite truth has not become the finite jiva. That crystal example, that's why again and again one has to reflect. The cloth and the crystal. The cloth's color is not taken up by the crystal. It is only reflected. If you remove the cloth, crystal is as it is. Nothing has happened to the crystal. Same way, pure consciousness, nothing has happened. Our effort is not that the jiva has to become Ishvara. No, jiva can never become Ishvara. What the jiva has to realize, I am not the jiva at all. I am pure consciousness. Bondage is false identification. So liberation is right identification. That's all. We don't have to think that liberation is after death, going somewhere, being something, becoming something. No. That is one level of liberation, no doubt. Sarupya, Salokya, Sayujya, those are different levels of moksha. But ultimate freedom is when I know who am I truly. That is moksha. And when I disassociate with who I am not. So that's why Viveka is most important. So this may seem like a repetition, but again this will come, again this has come here because that's the solution. False identification is bondage. So discrimination helps me to get the right identification and drop the wrong identification. So now that's what he says. Now how to do this? So again he says in this Atma Bodh, he takes this verse, which is on page 5. Vapustu shadi bhikko shaihi yuktam yuktya atmanamantaram shuddham vivichya tandulam yatha. So it says vapustu shadibhi koshaihi yuktam yuktya. Vapu means body. From body, etc., these 5 koshas which we have identified with, we have to separate yuktam yuktya with proper logical thinking and analysis. Atmanam antaram shuddham. From the body, we have to distinguish this Atma. Why? Because Atma is pure consciousness, shuddham. Vivichya, we have to separate from this panchakosha beginning with body. How? Tandulam yatha. Tandula is this rice. Rice and the husk. How does one separate the rice and the husk? Pound it. Swamiji, we have to pound our body. Panchakosha we have to pound? No. Don't have to destroy it, pound it. Identification has to be removed. That's why he says yuktya, yuktam yuktya. I have to logically, clearly think and discriminate. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. So many lives we have lived with this notion, I am this, I am this, I am this. So I have to go on negating, not this, not this, not this. And this is not an intellectual information. Remember, this has to be practiced. When you are eating food, you have to say, aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam na bhokta. Siddhananda Rupa. While taking bath, what do you say? Body is taking bath. I am a Sakshi. If the mind feels very elated, you say, mind is elated. I am a Sakshi. I am very hungry right now. Prana is hungry. I am a Sakshi. I can practice. Vedanta is most practical. If you say, no, this is theory, something else you tell us practice, then what else can we practice? If false identification is the problem, that false identification is 24 hours, no? So practice is how many hours? 24 hours. How can it be like a small technique we can give, okay, now you sit, you chant this mantra, now you will get moksha. Chanting the mantra will help us to become single-pointed, which is required. Nobody says no. But this cannot go by that. This can go only when I constantly practice, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. So one part of my mind does what has to be done. One part of the mind says, I am a Sakshi, I am not this. Like the actor knows he is not this role. So he plays the role. That actor example is the best example. Keeping that in mind. Otherwise one will say, how will I do my duties? The duties have to be done. The buddhi has the knowledge. Past karma is there. One will do it. What we have to only do is distinguish ourselves from it clearly, saying, I am a witness of all this. I am none of this. This is the body, mind, intellect or panchakosha going through all this. So now that is the logical analysis. Now to do this practice, we must be convinced that I am not this. So now based on Vivek Chudamani, this discrimination is given. Atma, Anatma, Vivek is done. That first of all, why is it said the Panchakosha is not me? Because we still feel I am this. So 2 points are given in logic. Point number 1 is that the koshas are known as mine, my body, my prana, my mind. Give this water to him. Apo ne? I don't know. Apo. So this body, we don't call it as this body. We call it as I am this. Na? So actually it is this body, this prana, this mind, like that. I am different from what I have. Simple logic. This also we have seen earlier. I and my are completely different. Like we say, no, my bangle, my house, my car, my laptop, like that. My body, my mind, my prana, my buddhi, my ignorance, all. So one logic is that Madiyatvena Jnatam Atma na bhavati. If you remember in that chapter earlier, we have done that. That Atma is not me. Atma is not this BMI. Why? Because this belongs to me. I, the real I. So I cannot be what belongs to me. This watch belongs to me. How is I this? I is different from this. Don't worry, body is coughing. You are Sakshi. Who is that we? Body is feeling the pain, mind is feeling the pain. You are the Sakshi. Bath is not about having the senses and the body and the pain of the body. The issue is only identification, nothing else. The moment I don't identify with it, I don't feel pain. Who is that I? That's what I'm telling. That is the whole thing. Body, that's what I'm saying. That's because our practice is so many years we have thought about I as this body. Actually, it is body who has the pain. Oh, it is difficult only. Whole world is deluded, no doubt in that. For a long time, the whole world believed that Earth is flat. Majority, so anyways, no criteria to determine what is the truth. The fact is that you just think about it. No, we see those examples in day-to-day life also. Let us say this is an ordinary watch, but suppose this is a Rolex watch. What will be my identification with it? Rolex, my watch. So much identification with that. After 30 years, what happens? Rolex. Doesn't matter. Why? What happened? Same watch it is. Now it no value for it. Why? Because I have some other value. Same body it is. Before we come to Vedanta, we say, my body, I am this, this, that. After we come to Vedanta, one will say, take care of the body, that's about it. Don't give. Gurudev, when he came once to Siddhavari, so he came to Kangra airport and people went to receive him. When they went to receive him, he came out. That time he was having heart problems and all those also. Old age this one. So when people went to receive him, they prostrated and then they asked Gurudev, Swamiji, how are you? You know what Gurudev said? Shh. Don't ask. She will think it is very important. You just think that was his reply. She will think she is very important. Meaning he is identifying himself with the pure consciousness and this body is a prakriti. So he's saying she will think she is very important. So actually it is like that. You see, when it pains at that time, if you remember you are not the body, that means Vedanta has gone inside properly. And you can practice that. I'm not saying it is difficult. It is possible. When you are at the time of pain, what comes to the mind is what we have practiced earlier. It comes to the mind, no? For pain relief, whatever I have done, suppose I like some song, then my mind will sing some song to divert the mind from the pain. It will sing some song, watch something, read something, something it will do, which it is used to. So if every day in my meditation I practice this thing that I am not this body mind, when there is pain, 100% that thought only will come. In a devotee's language, it will be that Bhagwan's name will come. It will come. So it will come. So that's the practice. No, either you practice Vedanta or you practice Bhakti or a mixture of both. Doesn't matter. What I'm saying is it's just a question of identification. Every single day, if I identify properly that I am not the body, mind, intellect, I am pure consciousness. That's why Kabir Das said, Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. When sukh is there, that time I don't identify with the Atma. Then in Dukh, I'm saying, how can I identify with Atma? It cannot happen. In Sukh, I have to identify first. Say, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Then in Dukh also it will happen. I am not this. And first of all, the beauty is, jo Sukh mein sumiran kare, to Dukh kahe ko hoye. Even if the body is in pain, the person will say, Aham Sakshi. Bas. Who is going through the pain? Think about it. The BMI is going through the pain enlivened by the Atma. So the Chidabhas, that ego goes through the pain. But who is that ego? The small I is actually that big I only. If that big I disassociates with the BMI, there is nothing that BMI can do. It doesn't exist only without the big I. That big I has forgotten itself and now identified with the small I, thinks I am going through all this. It doesn't go through. Actually, it doesn't go through anything. The BMI is going through it all. At the level at which we are, that's the answer. When we come to the level of reality, then there is no BMI also. Then there is no question of going through anything. So many great masters live in that state. I told you, Ramana Maharshi told the doctor, you operate now. He said, I have to give you anesthesia. I said, I already gone beyond body. You do what you have to do. So it is possible. It's just our identification. And that comes by practice. You were asking something. Take care. In spite of that, if you go to certain problems, then what exactly? It is karma. Body will anyway go through. Whether I live in self-control or not, the body will go through its own karmic consequences. And I need to take care of the body because the body is a sadhan for nididhyasana. So it is not to destroy the body, it is not to abuse the body, it is not to neglect the body. It is, as you said, take care of the body. Only take care. It's an instrument, that's all. And an instrument for doing sadhana for nididhyasana. So what will help me to cultivate that capability to do steady nididhyasana? All that I have to do with the body. Hence, sattvic food, sense control, brahmacharya, all those things to ensure that the body is in a fit state to realize the truth. That's all. It will go through. That's what I'm saying. 2 points are there. One is I have to take care of the body. Taking care of the body doesn't mean body will not have any problems at all. Body will have problems because of prarabdha karma is there, and more than prarabdha karma, this is nature of prakriti. No? How is it possible that this will not have any problem? This is jada vastu, it is prakriti. Prakriti has 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So it will go through mixture of these 3. So there will be issue. What I have to do is, if I have taken care of the body well, one is I can minimize those issues. 2, because I've taken care of the body properly and I don't think I am the body, detachment at the time of the issues will become much easier. Otherwise, it is most challenging. I have not taken care of the body, I can't sit and meditate, I don't know who am I, and now when the issue is there, that time I start applying, I am not the body. Then we say, Vedanta kaam nahi kar raha hai. Vedanta will not work. It is like saying that, when the house is on fire, I am going to dig the well. Now, what is the use of digging the well? Fire is going on. But you are starting now. You should have dug the well before. Then the water will help you. Same way. So I have to take care of the body as an instrument. That's all. If I do that much and I use it for dhyan to detach myself from the BMI, then it will work. So one logic was what? That I am different from my. Second logic is everything is seen. Atma alone is the seer. I is seen. So the object, the watch is the seen. And who is seeing? I. So the seer is different from the seen. Condition of the I also is seen by the mind. Condition of the mind is seen by the intellect. Condition of the intellect is seen by ahankar. Condition of the ahankar also is seen by Atma. Illumined by Atma. Is Atma seen? Atma never becomes the seen. Drig eva natu drishyate. So the ultimate seer, which today they call in quantum physics also as the ultimate observer. That ultimate observer is different from all that is which is observed. All that which is observed is an object of knowledge. Self is not object of the knowledge. Self is Jnana Swarup itself. Sat, Chit, Anand. And the definition of Chit there was Jnana Swarupa. So it will never become an object of knowledge. So whatever is object of knowledge is not me. Now these are the two logics. Whatever is seen, whatever is object of knowledge is not me, and whatever I have is not me. Now everything else except Om, Vasana onwards, BMI, PFT, OET, everything is seen. Panchakosha is all seen. By whom? By the Sakshi, by the self, the witness. And hence it is this Panchakosha Viveka has to be done because the nature of the body, mind, intellect is inert, finite, perishing, changing. And what is the nature of the Atma? Nirvikaro, Nirakaro, Nirvikalpo, Niranjanaha. That is the nature of the Atma. It is changeless, Nirvikar. Nirakar, it is formless. Niranjana, beyond any impurities. It is pure consciousness, infinite in its nature. Now, what is infinite in its nature and what is finite, they all have got mixed up now. I have forgotten I am that infinite and identified with this finite. So now each kosha is to be negated. To negate each kosha, I must have intellectual conviction at least that I am not that. See, don't negate intellectual conviction. Don't say, I am not the body. I am not the prana. If intellectual conviction is not there, meditation also cannot happen steadily, properly. So we must have this clarity. So it's not just about saying, okay, I am not this because I am seeing the prana. There are more deeper aspects I need to know to have the conviction that why I am not this. So each one now you will see. So the body is negated. Now see the negation of Annamaya Kosha. What is the negation of the Annamaya Kosha? Annamaya Kosha, as we know, it is born from food. The food that the mother eats, the food that the father eats, the food that they both eat. Finally, through the conception, the child is born. That child is nourished also by the food. And when that body dies, that body also will become food for other beings. So it is full of, it's only a modification of food. And what is it made up of? Skin, flesh, bones, fat, blood, marrow, all these. It's very fascinating. You see, if you think about it, what is this Maya and delusion? If we separate these 7 elements, Sapta Dhatu these are, if you separate these 7 elements into 7 buckets, will we love it? This is my skin. This is my fat. This is my blood. We don't love it. We'll say, yeah, nikalo isko. But all the 7, when they are put together, arey wow, this is me. What a delusion it is. You know, a nice story was there for it. One man, he has what is called sandwich phobia. Sandwich phobia. If he sees sandwich, no, he will start freaking out, saying, hey, sandwich, sandwich, I don't want sandwich. So his friend said, why are you so scared of it? What is the problem? Chalo, come with me. I will help you to get out of this sandwich phobia. So he said, okay. So he took him to his home and he went to the kitchen and they both went there. So he said, okay, now this is the bread. Are you afraid of the bread? He said, no, bread is nothing. Nice it is. Dekho, bread. See, this is butter. I took the bread, put the butter. Are you scared of this? He says, no. No problem. Bread is there, butter is there. There's a tomato. Cut. Put the tomato. Are you scared? He says, no. Bread, butter, tomato. Then like that same thing he did. Cucumber, onion, beetroot. Said, see, bread, butter, cucumber, onion, beetroot, all this is there. Now you see this is chaat masala. No problem. Then he took another bread, put some chutney. Says, see, chutney, green chutney. Do you have a problem with green chutney? He says, no, I love it. Green chutney. Put little more. Okay, more. And he put. Now this is sandwich. Ah, this is a sandwich. I don't. He's got so psyched just saying this is sandwich. Ingredients individually, he doesn't have a problem. The moment it comes together, he says, this is sandwich. Tension. That story one feels like laughing, but that's exactly what we are doing. Blood, bone, marrow, individually. In his case, he is not. In his case, is ulta. In our case, it is like this, you know. We like it together. Individually, we don't like it. It's a problem. Now, you see, that's what it is. The body is made up of all this. You see, these are, I tell you, very, very powerful meditations. If we want to do Vedanta, no, we have to do like this. One day you sit quietly and just mentally do this whole exercise. Make the mind quiet, do some focusing on deep breathing. And then after the mind is quiet, mentally, as though you have peeled off the whole layer of the skin from your body and put it in one bucket, is there. Then mentally take out all the flesh, put it in one. Mentally take out blood, put it in one. And you say, this is all the body is. Am I this? Very powerful it will be, I'm telling you. It is not a joke. Solid exercise it is. If you do that for 10-20 days, now, Param Vairagya will come. Anybody brings gulab jambu also, one will say, haan, theek hai. Why you are made up of food it is. You go inside, become food. What is the big deal? No, Swamiji, we want to enjoy life. I'll tell you, one will enjoy life more in that sense. Why? Because one knows that this is not me. One will eat it, the tongue is enjoying it, it becomes the body. I am the Sakshi, nothing happens to me. Whether Rasgulla comes or Gulab Jambu comes or a Karela comes, how does it matter? One just puts it. So negation of the body happens through that way, when deeply we meditate on these aspects. So one aspect is this, the content of this body is not anything which is pleasant. How can this body be pleasant? Then the body is impermanent. It is there only for a short time. It was not there before the conception. It will not be there after the death. Only for some time it is there in between. And Atma is, what is the nature of Atma? It is eternal. How many bodies one has taken? So that example which is there, no? Of changing the old clothes and taking up the new clothes. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. That is another meditation that one can do. If one wants to overcome fear of death, no, that is another meditation one has to do. That the body is dropped, I have gone ahead, I have taken another body. Or better to think that body is dropped, I have realized the Atma, full stop. I am not the BMI at all. Every night, Bhagavan gives us that experience unconsciously. Every night we go beyond body identification. But we have to do that consciously. So body is by itself for a very short time. It is impermanent. Then body is subject to modification. We saw 6 modifications. Asti, Jayate, Vardhate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Vinashyati. Gone. 6. You know, these are 6 modifications, but they all happen to this body. Nowadays they have app, you know, very nice app. You put your picture inside it, it will show you how you will be after, at 50, at 60, at 70, it will show. Earlier we had to do that by actually seeing our album. You see the album, no? See how slowly from black the hair became white. How young one was. Nowadays they put on Facebook. Throwback. It is called hashtag throwback. Throwback to 20 years before. Or a throwback 10-year challenge. 10 years ago I was like this, 10 years after now I'm like this. You just see in 10 years how the body changes. When one is young, one is very, very proud. But once one starts becoming old, then all that pride goes for a toss. Then one says, I am no more young. But I am young at heart. Can I come and participate? If actually one sees one's own pictures, no, one will say, what was I? What have I become? And what will be the future of this body, you think? Do I want to associate with this bundle of flesh? These are modifications of the BMI. I am not this. Then the body is jada. It is inert. Self is pure consciousness. It is not jada. Now these 3 points which are given, what is the meaning of this? Body is impermanent. Body is changing. Body is inert. Means I am not impermanent, I am not changing, I am not inert. Body goes through birth, death, disease, old age, sickness, health. I am not going through any of this. No, Swamiji, but body is going through. That's the whole point. Body is going through. Let the body go through. If your car is running some 1 lakh kilometer, are you running 1 lakh kilometer? No, but I am sitting in the car, no? You send the car, no, for now and then service. Send the body also for service. Use the body like we use a car. So that's how it is. So that is the negation of the Annamaya Kosha. What is the negation of Pranamaya Kosha? These 5 pranas which are there. Which separation are you talking about? Yeah, mentally we separate, no? The whole body disintegrates. See, that we are not talking about that kind of a psychological disorder of body and mind being separated out here. We are removing the false identification because there is no problem in this, because there is a identification with the real I. I'm not only separating I am not the body, mind, intellect, then who am I? That question is not arising here because it's not a psychological disorder. It's a conscious operation which is being done with the clarity that I know that I'm not the BMI. Now I am meditating to ensure that the false identification goes. In the other case, it is actually, I don't know for what reasons they don't have the clear identity of who they are. Then there are those psychological disorders, bipolar and whatever, you know, that schizophrenia and so many of those. Don't worry, none of those will happen. Because I'm negating what I am not and asserting who am I. And it is being done consciously. And again, I'm saying the roles we will still play. I'm saying I'm a Sakshi, BMI will play. The BMI has the knowledge, it will do its own work. That is not negated. So if you are a doctor, you will still play the role of a doctor. Meditation on this is not going to remove the knowledge of medicine and whatever else you had. It will only make it clear that I am not this. This is only an equipment. Like when we say I am not the watch functions on its own and I use the watch. Same way the BMI functions, it has its own prarabdha, it will go on. And I will continue to identify with it only as an equipment for use. And for that, as we said earlier, I have to take care of it. So I will take care of it. I will give proper food to it and, sleep, exercise, all that. Mind also take care of the mind, same way. Prana, all the 5 koshas I have to take care. And which is why we say many times that one should not do anything in excess. So this meditation is done 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because it's very intense. At other times, what do? Live with right values, have the proper goal, serve the society, because the mind needs to be engaged. If the mind doesn't have proper outlet, then that mind gets suffocated. Then these psychological issues can happen. But if it is followed properly, no issue. So that's how it will be. Now this pranamaya kosha is what? 5 pranas, they are by themselves jada. They don't know anything. See, the mind, what it goes through, based on that the prana also changes. If the mind is peaceful, prana is fine. If the mind is agitated, prana becomes anxious. So mind controls the prana. And by itself, the prana is anyway jada. Prana doesn't even know anything. That I am breathing, I am not breathing. Who says that I am breathing? Prana doesn't say. The mind says I am breathing. So it is that this prana so as they said, your breath does not know that you are studying Vedanta. The breath doesn't know anything because jada vastu. If breath knew anything, no stealing is possible at all at night. You think about it. When you are sleeping, your breath is going on. If a thief comes, the breath will tell you, "Arey, utho, chor aa gaya." Breath doesn't know anything. It is jada vastu, just going on, up, down. Inhalation, exhalation. Nothing it knows. Atma is that which is sentient. So I am not the pranamaya kosha, meaning all the properties, hunger, thirst, or as well as organs of action, speaking, writing, sitting, running, they don't belong to me. Which again means what? I will be a witness, let this happen. See, prana, many people think self is equal to prana. Because they say that prana stopped expressing, so the person died. Self is not equal to prana. Prana is only vital energy. And that prana modifies, changes. Presence of vital energy is required for the body to function. But prana functions because of Atma. Body functions because of Atma. That consciousness which empowers the prana to do its job is the Atma. Prana is not the Atma. Because we connect the life to only breathing. So prana is there, person is alive, prana gone, person dead. No. Prana is only 5 physiological functions in the body. And it is those pancha pranas which go from one body to another. So they travel, they change, they modify, they are inert. And last is the manomaya kosha. Why am I not the manomaya kosha? Because, see, this is a very interesting theory of perception in Vedanta. So manomaya kosha is mind and the senses of knowledge. Now, if I am seeing all of you, how is this knowledge arising? This knowledge is arising because the mind goes out through the senses, envelopes the object, and the knowledge arises in the mind. But how is the mind able to do that? Because of Atma. So the Chaitanya Swarup Atma reflecting in the mind is called Chidabhas, the ego, Mr. So-and-so. That goes out through the senses, envelopes the object, envelopes meaning gets the knowledge of the object, and then the knowledge arises here. So if I say I know the mic, so this mind empowered by this Atma goes out through the eyes, sees the mic, then the vritti jnana, thought arises in the mind, I know this is a mic. That I know belongs to Atma. This is a mic is the knowledge of, which is the knowledge arising in the mind, which is the thought. I know this is a thought is because of Atma enlivening the mind. And through that it goes out. If this I know is not there, mind cannot even go out of the senses, knowledge cannot happen, no vritti will arise, nothing will happen. So that's why this manomaya kosha is this, that this whole thing is happening because of Atma, but I have forgotten that part. So now what is the negation of this manomaya kosha? See, this Manomaya Kosha is a little longer portion, but very nice portion. This is that this mind has lots of these powers, but we generally forget it is because of Atma it is functioning properly. So like the example given here is the dream. The whole dream objects, the dream world, the dream people, everything is projected by the mind, dreamer's mind. But can the dreamer's mind project it by itself? It can project it only when it is empowered by the waker's mind. So in that same way here, this whole world is projected, the experiencer, experience, the experiencing, all this is which is happening by the power of the mind, but the mind's power is not independent on its own. It is enlivened by the Atma. That mind which knows this is the mind which is free. That mind which doesn't know this thinks that objects have happiness on their own, or it thinks that it is functioning on its own. That is all false identification. Which is why it is said mind is the cause of our bondage and mind is the cause of our liberation. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoh. When I identify with the not self, then the same mind will bind me. And when I detach from the not self, the same mind will liberate me. No, in the dream example, it is waker's mind, which is the Atma, no? In the dream example, waker's mind is the Atma, dreamer's mind is means our mind. And then the whole dream world is projected. In that example, it is the waker's mind. If it is not there, there will be no dreaming happening. So that's the limitation of that example. So now this Manomaya Kosha cannot be the Supreme Self. Why? Because it has a beginning and an end. Beginning and an end meaning every day when we wake up, the mind begins. Every day when we go to deep sleep, mind again goes to sleep. Again next day it opens. That is one way to understand beginning and end. Other way to understand beginning and end also is that when the knowledge arises, this false notion that I am this will go anyways. So mind has a beginning when it is got created. But when we realize the truth, our identification with the mind completely goes. I am not the mind at all. Manomaya Kosha is subject to modification. Of course, every single moment, so many thoughts come. Each thought negates the previous thought. And so many modifications it goes through. All these, desire, doubt, faith, fortitude, fear, all these. Then Manomaya Kosha is of the nature of sorrow. Now this is interesting. Why is the Manomaya Kosha of the nature of sorrow? Because it gets identified and attached. So it becomes miserable. 1. 2, if you see this, you see what is written here. From the standpoint of eternal bliss, the little pleasures and sorrows that the mind gets by attaching itself to the sense pleasures, that is from the highest standpoint, it is sorrow only. Because what I have got today, even if I say it is joy, it is actually postponed sorrow. So there are only two types of either immediate sorrow or postponed sorrow. Very pessimistic Swamiji. जन्माष्टमी के दिन ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हैं? जन्माष्टमी के दिन ये बोलना है because Krishna alone is real bliss. Everything else is misery only. Why it is postponed sorrow? Because either it will change or it will get destroyed. So I will have fear of losing it. Or I will have greed that I want more of it. Bhagwan alone is that who doesn't change. So Manomaya Kosha is of the nature of sorrow. And again it is object of knowledge. It is seen by the Atma. All the modifications of the mind are visible. I know I am happy. I know I am sad. I know I have concentration. I know my mind is wandering. I am aware of all the states of the mind, which means I am different. See, at that time I can practice this. When the mind is angry, if I can tell myself, I am not this mind, I am not this anger. I am separate from it. You watch the miracle after that. Those thoughts which are feeding that anger, no, they will stop. If I strengthen this bhav that I am a sakshi of anger, I am not angry. This is what I have to practice. I am not angry, I am a witness of anger. I am not hungry, I am a witness of hunger. I am not tall, I am the witness of this body. Every time this false identification rises in the mind, I have to detach and keep observing as a sakshi. For that, this conviction is necessary. Otherwise, we identify very closely with our emotions and say, I am angry, I am happy, I am sad. I am not. That is the mind going through it. I am a witness of it, because unless I am not aware of it, how will I know? That's why the theory of perception is important to know. Empowered by the Atma, this mind goes out, envelops the object, and then the knowledge arises. Yeah, don't worry. Please remember levels in sadhana. The Sakshi Bhav sadhana is subtler sadhana than purifying the mind. If I'm actually able to detach myself when the anger is arising every time, saying, I am not the anger, I'm not this mind, I am a Sakshi, anyway it will reduce. But if I practice it selectively, whenever I get angry, fully I get angry and then do all kinds of destruction, and then I say, but I am not the mind, then I'm deluding myself. Then I better practice the earlier sadhanas, what we saw, no, yajna, tapa, dana, those I have to practice. See, we are coming in subtler levels of sadhana. Those 6 we saw, yajna, dana, tapa, vrata, tirtha, those things we saw. After that we saw Shravan, Mana, Nididhyasan and Samadhi. So that's subtler level of sadhana. Then now we are seeing in the day-to-day life how to do the Panchakosha Vivek. So each level of sadhana keeps increasing. So I should know at which level I am and practice accordingly. Brain is a physical organ. Mind is the faculty which functions through the brain. It is there as a part of body. See, sense organs are not defined. Sense faculties are defined. Seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. These are faculties or capabilities. They are called indriyas. This eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin is the organ. Golak it is called. This organ is in the body. Faculty is the part of the subtle body. So 10 senses, 5 pranas, mind, intellect, memory, ego. 19 elements. That is this. Mad person. Same. Self enlivens the mind. Only that the person has lost control of the mind. That's all. It's like a driver. Petrol enlivens the car. Now one driver has no control, other driver has control. Petrol enlivens the car in any case. Without petrol, car will not work. Without Atma, mind will not function. One mind is in control, one mind is not in control. Mind is functioning, but it is misfunctioning because of its own past karma and vasanas. That's all. Atma doesn't change anything, please. If Atma changed anything, then Atma will not remain Atma, no. Atma doesn't change the mind. Atma is non-doer, like petrol. But in petrol's presence, only car will function. Atma enlivens by its presence. Atma doesn't do anything. Like the sun makes everybody active. Sun doesn't do anything. In presence of the sun, people get up, they become active. Like the screen doesn't do anything. But without the screen, you cannot see the movie. It is like that. So Atma doesn't change anybody's mind. A mad person also Atma enlivens the mind. Sane person also Atma enlivens the mind. Enlightened person also Atma enlivens the mind. The difference is in the quality of the 3 minds. Like we say, the 3 pots of water. One is pure water, one is muddy water, one is disturbed water. Reflection is same in all 3. But each one's quality you will see is very different. That's the quality of the pot and the water. No, again, that depends on their karma factor again. The question is, if past karma mind is not functioning properly, is there no chance for a mad person to change? No, that again depends on their past karma and their present purusharth, both. If they have to exhaust it by going through it in this way, they will go through it in this way. And then when that karma gets exhausted, anyway, the new body is got. See, the brain may have some malfunctioning, or the mind has a psychological issue. Both factors can change in this life also, or in the next life. Or it may not change in this life and it changes in the next life. It depends on their karmic aspects and their purusharth now. Depends on both. So that's why, no, purusharth is still possible. You see so many people now who are going through psychological challenges. In their own way, they keep putting that effort to at least deal with it and not to degenerate. That itself is purusharth. And people are there to help, support. They'll tell them, don't do this, do this. So if their own vivek is not helping them, the vivek of other people will be there to help them. So jitna hoga utna hi wo kar payenge. And even karmic factors will bring them in contact with such people. They are born in such families or there are people around. So slowly it works. And sometimes it doesn't work because they have to go through it. So then one goes through it. Okay, so we will conclude with one more verse of Shri Krishna. And each one of you can come. We have some flowers there. You can offer and take the prasad. Satchidananda Rupaya Vishwotpatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.